There are a lot of board and video games out there where you can play the part of submarine captain and try and sink as many ships as you can. But what about the escorts? What if you could play as them? That is Atlantic Sentinels, and I'm going to introduce you to this interesting game via a playthrough here today on Legendary Tactics. Welcome to Atlantic Sentinels, North Atlantic Convoy Escort, 1942 to 1943 by Gregory M. Smith and Compass Games. We're going to take the Canadian Task Force C1 and we're going to lead the escort group back and forth across the Atlantic and see what we can do to get as many ships across safely as possible. So I had to choose the Canadian escort group, of course, being Canadian myself. We don't start out with any advantages. We don't have any huff duff or any sort of advantages with the Type 271 radar or anything like that. It's just the ships. So we'll see how far we get with this. We've got a river class destroyer called the Assiniboine and a town class destroyer, St. Croix. And then the rest, we've got four flower class corvettes, Bouctouche, Chambly, Dianthus, and Nasturtium. And of course, being Canadians, we're going to start in St. John's, and we're going to make our way across to the United Kingdom, hopefully safely, and losing very little shipping to the U-boats. But we'll see. It's 1942 and 1943, not a good time for escorts. As you can see, the air cover ends. There's an air gap of a couple spaces there where we don't have any air support, and we get it back once we get close to Iceland. But it's going to be a bit of a challenge in the early going, and especially until we get some upgrades to our ships and our crews. And the game has lots of dice, as you can see, but we're going to need just one 6-sided die to figure out which convoy we have, and when we drop it through we get an HX small. So this means it's a small convoy. Historically it was the HX 177 was the convoy, and so we put that into the West Omp, which is the meeting place where they would gather the convoys, and then we'll move the escort group up to escort the convoy, and we'll begin our voyage. Because this is the first mission, we get to check to see if there is an available cam ship or close air support ship. We roll a 10, so it is not available. So I guess we don't have any real supports, just us Canucks in our little ships to defend against the U-boat threat. Okay, so we're going to move into our first box there, and we're going to roll to see if we have an encounter. We roll a 5, so nothing actually happens. And they said in the designer's notes that it wasn't totally surprising. There were a lot less encounters than you may have thought when crossing the Atlantic. They did definitely happen, but maybe not as often as you had thought. Now we're going to advance into the air gap, and we're going to roll for another encounter. And a roll of 6 means no encounter. So we're going to keep on trucking there, and we're going to roll again and see, and nothing yet. We've made it across the air gap. We're into the sea spaces, which is indicating the Condor range, which is some air support, and nothing there. And getting close to Iceland here. We're going to roll for that one, and we get a 7. Nothing happens there, and we get pretty close to the Shetland Islands. So far pretty quiet. We make it across to East Omp and Londonderry, so no encounters this particular time, but that doesn't happen very often, but we're happy to get the convoy safely across. So believe it or not, that's the end of mission 1. and 0 tonnage lost, and that takes care of the first 2 weeks of February 1942. Now we're going to turn around and head back. Okay, we're going to see what type of convoy we have for the way back, and it's a large one. Historically, this convoy was the ON-72. Heading back to Canada, we're going to go and meet it. Before we leave town, we're just going to double check and see if we get a cam ship, and we do, so that's helpful. So we get a bit of extra air support, which is stored right here, and that is a one-time use plane that we can use to help us against the U-boats. And we'll put that guy right here. And now we're going to hope for the best in our encounters, and we do encounter a U-boat in the very first space, and we do have some Condor air cover, so we'll see if they're able to chase the U-boat away. No, I forgot the Condors are the bad guys. So anyway, we're going to go to the large convoy display. So this is where we decide where our escorts are going to protect. So the 2 destroyers, the River class and the Town class, I'm gonna I think guard the. We're gonna do our best to guard the front, and we'll just make sure we'll put this guy in front of approach J, and then we've got the 4 Flower class corvettes. And we're just going to try and cover off as many of these approaches as we can. I'm not going to worry about the rear though. It's such a low odds. It's 2 or 12. So I'm just going to try and blanket as much as possible the front and the sides here. Got a bit of a balanced approach. So we have everything covered off there as best we can. And we may need to race around if we get a bad roll though. First of all, let's figure out if it's day or night. And this is just basically 1 to 3 is day and 4 to 6 is night. And it's during the daytime. So because we are under close air cover, because we're only at the Shetland Islands, we can see if they are going to chase off the U-boat because it's during the daytime and they can see it. It's also time to check the weather, and the weather is fair. So we'll just make sure to mark that there. This has no effect on the actual attack or any of the resolutions. It's just average weather. Just check what type of U-boat it is, and it is a Type 7. The U-boat will be a Type 7, and we're going to send one of the B-24 Liberators from Iceland and see if we can't scare him away. Now let's see what happens. Well, let's first see whether this U-boat is green, veteran, or trained. And turns out they're actually green, so brand new to the job. So we'll replace the U-boat there, the Type 7, with a green counter. So with the modifiers, this is a -2 to this roll, and we get a 9. So we get a 7. That's a crash dive. There's no attack this round, but the U-boat will be back at night. So it passes from day to night, and the U-boats always come at night. So now we're going to see where the U-boat ends up at night, and ends up approaching along the approach here. And we're just going to roll to see whether it's an approach C or D. And it looks like it's approach D. Now I don't know if this matters as much, but from a story perspective, we're going to see if there's any contact report that is sent, and that is sent. So who knows if that affects the U-boats going forward. It doesn't matter because we don't have the Huff Duff HFDF to detect a contact report. So it's more for the storyline. So as you can see, we have these little orange indicators. That means that either of these corvettes can detect the U-boat as it tries to sneak in. We don't have the Type 271 sonar. We don't have the any other form of detection, so we're just going to have to use the, as they call it, the ASDIC or the sonar to see if we can track down the U-boat as he approaches. Now we only get one detection attempt, and it's on a 1 to 3, and the U-boat goes undetected. This is not good. We're going to roll to see what range the U-boat makes it to, and makes it to medium range, and gets in there, unfortunately. Okay, so we roll 3 dice to see what targets come into range, and actually they fortunately happen to all be small freighters. I mean, not so fortunate for them, but in terms of potential lost tonnage, that's not a bad thing. And so we've got 3 small freighters that are targeted, and now we're going to see which one the U-boat goes for. Okay, now we'll see a medium range. The U-boat goes for the largest with 4 torpedoes. So one of the small freighters is going to have a bunch of torpedoes sent its way. Not good for them for sure. Okay, it's going to be tough for this freighter to survive. We'll see how he does. Oh, and we got a miss on the first one. Anything 2 to 6 is a hit here because it is a green crew. So hopefully that is a good sign of things to come. So that's the first one. Second one is a miss. Interesting. Okay, and the third one. Miss. Wow, that's 3. 4. All of the torpedoes missed that small freighter. Got lucky there, that's for sure. And that's what a green U-boat captain will do, is shoot 4 torpedoes at a single ship and miss. So now we'll see if we can detect the sub and maybe get some attacks in. So it's 2 to 8 for the sub to get away, but it's +2 to the roll because it's 1942, and there's no other, and we have 2 escorts as well, so it's +3 to this roll. So we'll see how we do. And that is 9, so the sub is detected. So we'll flip over the sub right there. Okay, because we've got these corvettes, they're going to do some depth charge attacking, and we'll see how this works. The modifiers are going to be nothing really that, let's see, there's nothing really that that matters here. So, okay, so we've got 2 dice here, and we'll see what happens. Get a 9. Ooh, that's pretty good. 3 hits. Okay, the 3 hits. So this could be really interesting. So we need to roll 2 different die, different colored die. We've got a colored and a white die. We've got 53 is a crew injury. Now this is something that doesn't really matter to the game. It's mainly to link in with the hunters, so it's not going to really matter, but we got some a crew injury or whatever. So there's nowhere even to indicate it on here, so that's fine. Then we get another 2 hits after this. We get 46, which is the 2 centimeter flak, so the flak gun is damaged again. Probably not going to matter in this case, and we have another 46, again, the 2 centimeter flak gun. Now the U-boat again has to undergo a detection check, and again it's +2 to this. We had a previous detection, so it's +3, and 2 escorts again, so we've got 4 added to this roll, and 11 detected again. Okay, we're going to attack again, and we get a 5. That's 1 hit. All right, we'll see what damage we get this time. 63. which is the FT doors. These are the front torpedo tube doors. They are damaged, so that's excellent. That'll mean that this sub is going to leave the encounter after it gets away. We're going to see if we can sink him though before he manages to get away. This guy's really only going to get away on a roll of 2 to 4. Oh, and we got a 3. 3 plus 4 is undetected, so the sub skulks off and leaves the encounter. Pretty tough for them to get away once they're found. So that was a bit dramatic anyway. We're going to advance up here, and we're going to roll, and we get a 9. And that means another U-boat finds us and attacks. Double check, and it is a Type 7. And we're also going to check to see its competency, and it's a trained sub-commander, so no modifiers on this one. I'm going to keep my ships as they were before. I think that worked fine. We're going to see if it's day or night. The first one, it's actually going to be another day encounter, and the Type 7 U-boat, which is a regular Type 7, ends up coming from the front. Now we'll randomly decide which approach box, and it's going in number 1. Now we're still under air cover from that Liberator, so we're going to see if we can't scare this sub away. Yeah, we just get -1 to this roll. It is a 7. That is enough for a crash dive, and so the U-boat will actually dive away. Probably didn't need to choose the approach, but we'll be back at night. So we'll just flip that over now, and the U-boat will return. This time the U-boat will go again straight from the front, and we'll just roll this die to approach A1. Okay, so we've got 2 escorts on that, including my town class destroyer. So hopefully we can detect him, and we can start to pummel him before he gets in, breaks through the screen to get to the convoy. This doesn't matter so much with Tough Duff, but we're just going to check to see if he sends a contact report, and looks like he does. Okay, we've got 2 boats which can detect. So we'll say the black dice is the flower and the white die is the town class. We need 1 to 3, and we managed to get a detection, which is great. So now we go to attack it before it breaks through to the convoy. So the U-boat is now detected, and we're going to roll to see if we can get some hits. So we have a -1 to this roll because there's a town class involved. And we get a 6, which is modified to a 5. We get a 1 hit. And now we'll just double check to see which hit we get, which is down on this chart here. And we get 52, which is crew injury. Oh, sorry, it's hull. And so that is some damage. And hopefully we can cause enough of it to get a sunk sub at some point. I think it would be great to get, before the wolfpacks hit, it'd be great to get a couple of sub kills for the bonus that it gives us in final scoring. So I'll place the hull damage here. All right, and we go through another detection. Okay, there's a 4 modifier to this roll, and we get 12. So the sub remains detected. So we're going to see if we can get another hit, and we get an 8, again -1, so it's 7, so we get 2 more hits, which is perfect. So let's see what we get. We get 56, which is the deck gun, and oops, there I go. 26, which is the flak gun. Probably not that much damage in terms of effectiveness against the sub, but we'll mark them anyway as damaged. All right, then on to the next detection, and we roll again. and that's a 10 still detected. Really, they can only dodge detection on rolls of 2, 3, or 4, so we're going to keep hammering them. We're going to get another dice. We have 5 minus 1, so we get 1 hit, and we're going to check to see what that is, and it's 21 flooding. All right, that's good, although it doesn't affect the sub as far as the sub leaving the battle in and of itself, but I think it will do enough to we've already done enough damage on him to chase him away. The only hope is that we sink him before before he has a chance to get away. Okay, so we have the flooding status there. There we go again, and see, ooh, barely. Just managed to stay detected, which is good, and we'll get another hit. So still pounding away. Jesus, guy's tough. 33 is a hull hit. Jeez, this guy's going to take a little while to sink unless we get multiple hits. All right, detection roll. Barely kept him in the zone, and we got 11. That is a little bit better. Now, -1 for the town class, but that's still 3 hits. That's a lot better. Okay, so we're going to see what happens here, and we get 14, which is the periscope. Then we have, so that's one of them. And what do we get? 65, which is the hull times 2. So that's a good one. And last one is 44, flooding. Okay. So we damage the periscope, 2 hull damage, and a flooding. So we're getting there. It's taking a little while though. Lots of depth charges. Next up we have detection, and still stays detected. And now we have a 10. Now we have the is there anything that any of the modifiers that are going to? It doesn't look like there is. So looks like it's a 9. It's still 3 hits, so that's perfect. So we're going to take those rolls right now, and we get a 43, which is flooding. We get, after that, 13, which is crew injury. That doesn't matter as far as damage goes, and 53, which is another crew injury. So we got another flooding anyway. The crew injuries only matter if you're playing this in combination with the hunters. Okay, detection again. Oh, good. Still detected, and we have, whoops, we have again still -1 here, and a 2, ineffective, so nothing happens. So we'll just go right into another detection here, and we're still good. The hits, once again, ineffective. Jeez, what's going on? Okay, we're going to go for detection again. We're still good. And 7, so minus the 1, so that's 6 is 1 hit. And we'll take the hit on 26, which is the flak gun. So I think that's out of commission, basically now. We'll flip that over to inoperable. That inoperable result didn't really matter. So anyway, I'm going to, I forgot actually to check to see whenever there's flooding, if there's a chance that there'd be additional flooding, and we took 2 flooding damage. So I'm just going to roll for those now. On a 5 or 6, we add some additional flooding, and there is no additional flooding, so that's good. So we do our usual detection, and we're still good with that. Whoops. And we're going to try. We get a 7, so it's 2 hits. Perfect. Okay, 52. So the hull takes another damage, and 43, the more flooding. So while we're at it, before we forget, if we get a 5 or 6 on this die roll, it's an additional flooding, and that's 2 flooding and a hull. Okay, it's a couple flooding and a hull. All right. Next up is detection. And this sub is having a tough time getting away. Ooh, an 11. Geez, that'd be great if there was a bit of damage so I could offset my town class negative there. But anyway, it's still 3 hits. And we have 65 is a hull times 2. Okay, we're just about done with this guy. 42 is the radio. And last hit is 15 is the dive planes. Okay, that's good. Now we can, they're going to be easier to detect now, so it's harder for them to get away without the dive planes. So it was 2 hull damage, just about got this guy. The radio is damaged, and the dive planes are damaged. So that's going to be, it's a +5 to my roll now, so he can only sneak away on a 2 or 3 at this point. And let's see how we do. Perfect. Then we need some hits, and we should be good with that. 3 hits. All we need is 1 hull, and it's game. As far as this electric motor, 2. 64 is front torpedo doors, even. And what else we got? 35. There's the hull. So that's the end of it. So we can mark the damage anyway. We got front torpedo doors, and this sub is sunk, and so we get some credit for that. That's great. See you later, buddy. He did send that contact report, so who knows if we'll run into more subs later on. Yeah, it feels like it's been ages. So we're going to move now to the next spot down the convoy route, and we get an 11, and that's another U-boat. Interesting. Guess that contact report really mattered. We'll see what type of U-boat it is, and it is a 3, which is a regular type 7. And let's see what type of U-boat it is. It's a regular trained type 7 U-boat, something we're very familiar with from the previous encounter. I'm going to keep my previous setup with the river flower there, the town flower there, and the 2 flowers on the side. We're going to first of all see whether this is day or night. So 1 to 3 is day, so we're in the daytime. Okay, so even if the U-boat spots us, may not have the courage to attack. We'll have to see. And so let's see first of all if the U-boat attacks. It's only on a 1 or 2, and it does attack. So now we just need to figure out where the U-boat approaches from, and it's 11. Oh, I thought it was from the rear, but it's actually from this side here. Then we'll just see whether it's approach C or D, and it's approach C. So we have a U-boat approaching from that side, and we do have a Flower class corvette that's able to detect him. All right, let's see if I can detect the U-boat, and I do not with a 6. Okay, let's see the range that they're at, and they're at medium range, so they move up to medium range there. Okay, and we're in medium range. We roll a 12. Largest 4 torpedoes. Because I didn't get a close range result, I have no other chance to search by sonar. So we're going to see which size of the boats are, the freighters or even tankers. Because it wasn't at close range, we don't get any further chances to detect it by sonar, so we're going to see what ships we have. And we have a small freighter, a large freighter, and a tanker. Okay, we're going to see which freighter is targeted, and we have 80 is the result. So then Navarino, 4,800 tons. Now that one's probably going to be ignored. We'll just do the tanker next, and we have 70. Sorry, we'll change that because that's the Cairndale's 8,100 tons. So that one is so far the biggest one, and then we'll just go to the large freighters here and see what we get. It's 31. So that is the city of Benares down here. That's 11,100 tons. That one gets all 4 torpedoes. Okay, we're going to roll the 2 hit chart. The black die will be for duds, which only happen on a 1, and the white die will be for the hits. Well, it fell. It didn't go through the tower, but that's okay. So that is that's 1 hit there. And we'll just do the other ones. Here we go. And that one is a hit as well. Then we've got, so that's 2. And that one's a miss. We need 2 to 7 to hit here. And that one's a miss as well. So, so we got 2 hits. Let's see how much damage it did. Okay, a ship of that size is going to take 4 damage to sink. So we have 2 die here, as 5 is 1 damage. So that is good. And another, so it's 2 damage on the city of Benares. And that's going to mean a straggler, but at least it isn't sunk. Okay, before we forget, we're going to put the large freighter in the straggler box. That might need to be defended, which is not good. Okay, and we're going to see if we can detect the U-boat. And we have an 8. It normally would fall under undetected, but with the +2 for 1942 and a -1 for 1 escort, that gives us a 9, which means detected. Now it is pummel time. Got to get him back. All right, let's see if we can get some damage. We get a 2, which unfortunately results in ineffective attacks there. Okay, so we're going to keep looking or keep detecting, and we get a 12. That's a that's +1 attack as well. We get the extra attack here, so we're going to keep on pummeling here. So we get a 10, which is 3 hits. Or sorry, I guess that's it's modified to a 9, still 3 hits. And with the second attack, we get a 6 with the modification. So that means we've got 4 hits to deal with. Okay, and the kind of the percentile dice, we have 65 for the first hit. That's hull times 2. Okay, so we'll do that there. Okay, so that's hit 1. Here's hit 2 is 32, which is minor damage, so nothing. Hit 3 is 34, crew injury. That one actually I don't think matters as far as this game is concerned, but would if we were playing with the hunters. And then the last one is 43, flooding. So I'll put that there. Okay, we're gonna see if we can keep this going, and unfortunately now the U-boat is undetected. So we did scare him away though, as he needs to limp away for some repairs. I think we need to send this Flower class ship back to protect the large freighter against future attacks. Okay, we're going to advance into the air gap here with our convoy, and we roll an 8 to see if there are any encounters, and there are not. Moving into the next spot here. And we roll again, and we get an 11, which is a U-boat. So we have been found yet again. Okay, and we're going to roll to see what type of U-boat it is. And it is a Type 7. And it will move in on the straggler here. And we're going to see what level of U-boat it is. It's a regular trained U-boat. So nothing special, but they're not greenies either. Okay, once again, we're going to see if it's a night or day start to the combat cycle. It's actually going to be at night, which is absolutely terrifying. Can't remember if I rolled for weather the last time they attacked. The weather is actually bad and has affected the there's actually some stragglers that are resultant from that. So I'll just mark that here. Now these stragglers are temporary. We have a small and a large freighter that get left sort of behind because of the weather. But again, these ships are just for this encounter. If they survive, they'll rejoin the main group. But the guy who's damaged here is not going to come back. So we'll see which one, where the U-boat comes in. It's actually at long range, so the Escort has no chance to defend against this U-boat at the moment, but only after the attack. So we'll have to see which one the U-boat goes for. Okay, at long range, we're going to see which one the U-boat targets. The two smallest will each get 2 torpedoes fired at them. So that's interesting because there's only one small and the other 2 are the large ones. So we'll just say one of each, I guess. All right, this is where the identification comes in handy, I guess. We have 73, which is the small one is the Leonidas at 4,600 tons. And we'll flip this over here and we'll choose the large freighter and see which one. That was a 2 before it flipped. Oh, where'd the 2 go? There's the 2. So 20. So that's the Tajandoan, 8,200. And so that one will be the will be the second one targeted. So it's going to be the 2 stragglers that just joined due to the bad weather. Okay, for the Leonidas, let's see how this goes. You have an 8, which is a miss at long range, and the second one is also a miss. So the Leonidas survives due to the bad targeting, and then we also have the Tangendoan. That one is a miss, and the next one, oh, it's a hit. But let's just see if we can get a dud, and we don't, unfortunately. So that is 1 hit for the Tangendoan. And we'll see how much damage is done here, which is just 1 die. 4 damage. That is more than enough to sink the Tangendoans. That's the first, I think that's the first one we've lost so far. So this large freighter is sunk. Now we'll see if we can detect this guy, and we roll a 6. We only have 1 Escort, so it's modified to a 7, but that is not good enough. So the U-boat remains undetected and comes back for another round. I'm going to move to the next step in the combat cycle. This time it's a daytime attack. Okay, because we're in the air gap, we don't get any air support to protect us from the submarines during the day. So we have to roll to see what the sub does, and the sub chooses to do a contact report. We don't have Huff Duff, so essentially no effect. And we flip to the night cycle and move this to the 3rd part of the combat cycle, the 3rd phase. So this will be the last attempt that the sub is going to make to attack the convoy. So unfortunately, the stragglers are going to be at risk here. The U-boat decides to get right up close. Sorry, I just checked the rules, and 5 to 6 is actually long range, so that's a little bit better. Okay, we're now going to see which where the targets are going to go. The two smallest, two torpedoes. So, because there's a large and a small, I guess we're going to count those as the two smallest. So, both ships get 2 torpedoes each. Okay, so we know the Leonidas is one of the is a small freighter. We're just going to identify the large freighter here. We use the black dice as our 10s, and we've got a 17, the Gustav E. Rauter, which is 6,300 tons. So that's going to be that's an interesting name. So 2 to 6 is needed to hit, so we'll do the attack on the Leonidas at first, and that's 1 hit on the Leonidas, and the second torpedo misses. So that's 1 hit for the Leonidas, and we'll just see what happens with the other one. 2 torpedoes, that's 1 hit on the large freighter, 2 hits on the large freighter. So, oh boy, this isn't going to be good. All right, so the small freighters can take just 1. I guess they've got a couple of damage that they can take here. We're going to check the torpedo dud chance here, and none of them are duds. So the poor Leonidas is going to take 1 torpedo, has 2 damage to sink due to their size, and the roll of 4 is 1 damage. The Leonidas survives, but takes a hit. I don't know. I guess I'll mark it with that, and that's going to be that's going to be tough to limp home anyway. And then we've got 2 torpedoes for the other freighter there, and we have 1 and 3. So that only needed 3 damage. So that large freighter sadly is sunk, and I'll just have to check the name of him. Yeah, so it was the Gustav D. Rauter. So that is sadly going to be another 6,300 tons that are going to be lost. Gustav there. So that is sad, but that's part of the war, I guess. I'm going to change this. Change this to 14,500 tons lost so far. And now we got to see if we can detect the sub. We got to avenge the Gustav B. Rauter, and we get a 10. So that is modified by a +2 because of the +2 because of the 1942. And it's a -1 for long range and -1 for 1 escort. So still detected. So that means we get a chance to beat up on the sub a little bit here. Now we get a chance to beat up on this sub. We're going to roll a 7, and that is modified by a -1 because we only have 1 escort actually doing the work, and so that's going to be a 6. That's just 1 hit, and we're going to roll to see what the hit is, and it's going to be the periscope. Oh boy, that's basically not much damage at all there. Now we're going to see if the sub can evade detection, and we get an 11. Oh boy, so that's pretty good, but we're also yeah, basically it's just a regular detection. So now we're going to see about hitting this guy, and we get 3 hits, but it's 3. It's a 9 - 1, so it's 2 hits for the for that sub. So we're going to go, and flooding is the get some flooding damage there, and then the second hit is crew injury, which unfortunately doesn't Doesn't matter. Actually, there's not even a space for it here. Doesn't matter in this game. It matters for the hunters. Okay, so now we're going to see if we can continue to detect it. And oh, and actually, I believe we don't get to detect it. It's actually goes undetected this time. That's a bit surprising. I was used to having lots of escorts and so forth that made it very tough for him to escape, but it looks like he did this time. And he did take some damage, a little bit of flooding and so forth, but anyway, he's gone to go lick his wounds and celebrate, I guess, because he did pretty well overall. All right, and we're finally under the air cover of the Canadian side there in Newfoundland. We're going to roll for encounters. Okay, and we roll. We get an 8, so there's no encounters. And we're going to pull into the into port here and to safety. Okay, we pull into West Omp, and the escort group's going to go and rest up in St. John's, Newfoundland. Now the fun part is we get to see if we can get an upgrade, especially for Huff Duff. No, nothing yet. So we're stuck on that. And the type 271 radar 4, we missed that one too. And hedgehogs, not even sure. Yeah, 5. We don't even qualify for hedgehogs either. I have to check to see whether they had them that early in the war, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, we missed those rolls, so that's not good. Overall, though, a decent month of February. We did lose some ships there at the tail end, and I'm kind of glad we didn't run into any wolfpacks, because I could see that being quite difficult to attack them all, and yeah, it could be quite an overwhelming thing, especially when you don't have the Huff Duff and the Type 271 radar. But anyway, we're happily ensconced in Newfoundland for now, and we'll see you here next time on Legendary Tactics.